a message for the younger members of the United Parish. Today's passage in Matthew is kind of a scary one. Jesus tells his disciples that soon he's going to need to go to Jerusalem, and when he goes to Jerusalem, he will die. And his disciples get scared at this. And Peter pulls Jesus aside and says, of what any of us would say, he would said, no way, this can't be true. And Jesus turns and looks at Jesus and says, get behind me, Satan. That must have hurt, to have someone he loved and followed turn to him and call him out and stop him in his tracks. Sometimes when I'm walking with my little girl Madge, she forgets that we're getting close to the street and she needs to hold an adult's hand to cross the street. And sometimes she forgets that there's a car coming. And one time when this happened, I had to raise my voice and shout. I said, stop! And when I raised my voice and I yelled, it scared her. But she realized in that moment that she needed to stop. And that fear that happened was necessary for her to stop. I called it using my big voice. Most of the times, I would have just reached down and grabbed her hand, or I would have calmly reminded her, hey, we're getting close to the curb. But she was going directly into danger. And the time to be nice and the time to be quiet and gentle was over. It needed to stop then. And being the dad I am, I sat with her for a minute until it wasn't scary anymore, and reminded her that to keep her safe, we needed to cross the road safely. And I think that's what's happening here. Jesus is just taking a quick moment and telling Peter he needs to stop. He's got it wrong. He's got it dangerously wrong. Because Peter is starting to see Jesus' work as something that's going to build something that he knows. A kingship of power, and very political, and something that looks a lot like what they had. But that was getting away from what God was doing. And so Jesus had to stop Peter in his tracks. And I think it was just as scary. But later we see that Jesus says to his disciples, what I'm doing is big and it's scary, and this is how you need to get ready for it. And so sometimes we see passages like this in the Bible that are scary. And I think they should stop us in our tracks to make us think, well, what is God really saying here? And in this moment, we can be thankful that Jesus wasn't yelling at Peter to be mean, but yelling at Peter to stop him before he went too far.